Everybody, and welcome back. And I am honored to be standing next to one of the most influential photographers from my career, Tim Walden. So thanks so much for being with us here today, Tim.
It's my honor. I love it, and love hanging out with you guys. It's special.
That's awesome. So for those of you that are watching along that potentially haven't heard of Tim or have seen his work, can you tell us a little bit about you, where you're located, your studio, that kind of stuff, just to get us started?
Sure, yeah. Well, I'm in Kentucky, Lexington, Kentucky. Horse country, bourbon country, and basketball country, yeah. And, that's where I grew up. And our work has been about relationships, celebrating relationships. Fine art, black and white, is the cornerstone of what we do, telling people stories, creating art that celebrates the people they love, and then and beyond. Some of the color work and some painting work that my wife does, and so yeah, I love what I do. I'm so passionate about it.
And you have been influential in the industry for decades, which is amazing because I think we all live in a time where you're trending for a while. You're the new fad, and then it kind of goes up and comes down. Where you have been so influential in so many photographers' careers for so long. When I think of the people that I looked up to, early on, it was Mike Hanline and you. And Rod Evans, Larry Peters, Darty Hines, like the cornerstones of this business. I really, we're honored to hang out with you. So in the history of Walden Photography, your dad started it, correct?
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about your dad and how that influenced your direction in photography?
Yeah, well, my father, if you know me well, you don't get away too long without me talking about him. He was handicapped from his armpits down, and spent the last almost 40 years of his life confined to a wheelchair. But yet, I think it was photography and his passion for people and photography that drove him to build our brand. And I remember when I got into photography, it wasn't his talent, although he was very talented, that attracted me. It was his passion. And I thought to myself, how can you love something this much? Yeah, and so he didn't say, you need to do this, you got to follow my footsteps, but I just watched his passion, and along the route I said, well, teach me, show me a little bit. And I tell you, I got bit by the bug. And to this day, I wouldn't do anything else. It's still the love of my life, other than my wife and family, of course.
Well, speaking of your lovely wife, Bev is actually around the other side of the booth. You guys have built a business together, and you work together, and you work together well. Can you tell us a little bit about your individual roles in the business and how you come together to be this great team?
I do what I'm told. No, I've got the best wife in the world, and she couldn't have a better partner. Matter of fact, it's the one thing I'm so glad my father was wrong about. He said, do not work together. That's a bad thing. And maybe for some it is, but we just have such a respect for each other. We find our own lane. And I know where she is amazing, I need to stand back and say, how can I help you? And then the areas that are my expertise, she's like my biggest cheerleader. And so I'm thankful that it's worked that way. It's not like there's never been a bad day. We all know that's not the case, but there's been a lot of good ones, and there's still, we still love what we do, and we do it together. And that's a huge blessing, because not everybody, they come together for dinner at night and then they don't want to talk about work. And yeah, it's just not us that way. So.
Well, that's awesome. I mean, you guys have been a great couple for a really, really long time. So education is a huge part of what you do. You've been an educator for so long. Tell us what's coming up. And you just mentioned a few minutes ago you have several engagements already lined up for the year. Tell us about those where people can find you online and take the time to learn from you.
Well, if you insist.
Okay.
No, thank you for asking that. Well, our website is timwalden.com. That's the website for photographers. And it's where we have a lot of one-on-one coaching, virtual classes, and you can learn where we might be coming up. I know we're going to be in Colorado soon. I'm doing something in Colorado Springs, Texas School, Florida School, working on a trip to Calgary. So a number of things like that are on the docket, but if they go there, they can keep up with us. But more importantly, they can subscribe to Beverly's Tuesday Tidbits, which are like every other week. I don't know if you've seen them, but they're amazing, just free education. She sends out to people that are just, they're a little inspirational, but they're a lot educational, marketing, branding, sales, style. So yeah, and it's a way for us to get to know each other if we don't. So.
And then are you present on social media as well? Facebook, Instagram, that kind of stuff. Where can people find you there?
Yeah, well, they can find Tim Walden on Facebook. Facebook at Tim Walden, Beverly Walden, just with their name. We have a small group on there called Portrait Success with the Waldens. And so anybody that's studied with us or a photographer that would be a good fit, we'll pop them in there. It's not something we charge for. It's a way we just keep up and share with them what we know, and they share with us what they know. And so, yeah, and then Instagram, we're at Walden's Photography. So.
Well, we really appreciate all you do for the industry and for White House. You're one of our very best friends, and it's so fun to see you in person. You did a webinar for us a month or two back, and the response that we had from that was just fantastic. So thank you for being kind and for caring and loving photography.
If you don't mind, I've got to say this. White House, and you talked about me the whole time, but you guys are amazing. And when I first found White House, I thought, gosh, what incredible people. Number one, great customer service, great art products, and I just have become a raging fan of White House. So just a shout out to you guys. Thanks for what you do in the industry, and thanks for what you do for us and the whole thing.
Well, we appreciate that, and we really hope that you've enjoyed this interview with Tim Walden. He's a legend. Go find him online. Take the time to learn from this man. I hope you've enjoyed this interview, and we will be back with you shortly.